وبركاته. الحمد لله وكفى ثم الصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى وبعد. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Inshallah, today today is the 27th day of Ramadan, and we will be reading from the book of our noble scholar Ibn Uthaymeen pertaining to the Eid and the ending of Ramadan. And this is the 30th sitting from the sittings of the month of Ramadan by our noble scholar Ibn Uthaymeen. Our noble scholar Ibn Uthaymeen, after praising Allah the Almighty, he stated saying, "O my brothers, indeed the departure of the month of Ramadan has approached, and soon it will be over. This month will surely be either a witness for you or against you, based on what you have deposited in it of deeds. Whoever deposited righteous deeds in this month, he should be grateful to Allah and rejoice with a good reward. For indeed, Allah does not waste the reward of the one who fulfills his command in the best manner." Like the Most High said, "Inna Allah la yudi'u ajra man ahsana amala." Indeed, Allah the Almighty will not let go waste the deeds of those who have done well. So whoever deposited evil deeds in this month, he should turn to Allah with sincere repentance, for indeed Allah forgives whoever repents to him. Allah has already legislated for you in the ending of this month of yours some acts of worship that brings you closer to him, strengthens your faith, and makes your scales of good deeds heavy. He legislated for us the giving of Zakat al-Fitr, and we have already addressed this issue in the previous sittings. Likewise, he legislated for you to venerate him upon the completion of the month of Ramadan from sunset till the feast prayer. Like it was mentioned in Surah Baqarah, saying, "Yuridu Allahu bikum al-yusr, wa la yuridu bikum al-usr," that Allah the Almighty wants ease for you, and He does not want hardship for you. وَلِتُكْمِلُ الْعِدَّةِ, and that He wants you to complete the fasting of the month of Ramadan. وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ, and to glorify Allah the Almighty for guiding you to this beautiful religion. وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ, and so that you'll be grateful to Allah. So glorifying Allah the Almighty and venerating upon completing the month of Ramadan is something that is legislated, and we are commanded to do that by Allah the Almighty. It is from the Sunnah for men to proclaim it in the masjids, in the marketplaces, and in their houses, demonstrating their veneration of Allah, their worship of Him, and their gratefulness to Him. The women say it in a very low tone of voice because they are commanded with concealment and speaking in a low tone while in the presence of men. So the glorification that Ibn Uthaymeen is referring to is the one that we say during the Eid. You remember how it goes? We should do. Takbirat.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, Allahu akbar, walillahi alhamd.
Beautiful, right? Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. Right? Our noble scholar Imam al-Qurtubi said that what is his name? Qatada used to say, "Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamdu ala ma hadana." Right? The reason being is because he was mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah saying, وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ. Right? So he adds that. So you can say this, or you can say, because some people, it may be difficult for them to memorize how it goes. So our noble scholar, Imam Ibn Qudama, he mentioned in his book, what's the book name? All right, I don't remember the name of the book, but he mentioned in this famous book of fiqh, right? He mentioned that you can say different form of glorification. From among them is Subhanallah, Walhamdulillah, Wa la ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar. Right? Actually, his book Al-Mughni, Kitab Al-Mughni, that's a famous book of Imam Ibn Qudama. So he mentioned that you can say Subhanallah, Walhamdulillah, Wa la ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar. He also mentioned that you can add Allahu Akbar kabira, walhamdulillahi kathira, wa subhanallahi bukratan wa asila, la ilaha illallah wahda. Right? He also mentioned that you can add that. So He the Most High, He has generalized the glorification. He said, وَلِتُكَبِّرُ and glorify your Lord. So whatever forms of glorification that you use will be accepted from you. You can either say Subhanallah, Walhamdulillah, Wa la ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, or Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd. All these forms of glorification will be accepted. Our noble scholar Ibn Uthaymeen said, how beautiful is the condition of the people when glorifying Allah and venerating Him in all places at the conclusion of the fasting of the month of Ramadan. They fill the horizon with their voices, glorifying Allah, praising Him, singling Him out along with worship, while hoping for His mercy and fearing His punishment. Likewise, Allah the Glorified has legislated for His slave the feast prayer, which is the Eid prayer, on the day of the feast. It is the one of the most complete forms of remembrance of Allah the Almighty. The Prophet ﷺ said, has commended His nation, both men and women, to establish it, and His command must be fulfilled due to Allah's statement. Right? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasulah wa ulil amri minkum. So if the Prophet ﷺ commanded us with something, we have to fulfill the command of the Prophet ﷺ. And we mentioned in our previous class the opinions of the scholars pertaining the ruling of the Eid prayer. Some of them say Sunnah Mu'akkada, and this is a weak opinion. Some of them is a collective duty, and this is the opinion of the majority of the scholars, which means the Eid prayer must be established in the community, because if none of us establish the Eid prayer, they will be held accountable for that. And the third opinion, which is the opinion of Abu Hanifa and other scholars of fiqh, is its individual duty. What do we say is a proof that they use?
That the women were commanded to come out and pray Salatul Eid even if they're menstruating.
Exactly. What the Prophet ﷺ, commended the women who are even on their menses. And the hadith right here, Ibn Uthaymeen said the Prophet ﷺ has commanded the women to attend the Eid prayer, even though the best place for women is their homes. But with the Eid prayer, the Prophet commanded them to come to the Eid prayer. This occasion is an exception. The proof which supports this is the narration of Atiyah, may Allah be pleased with her, who said, أمرنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن نخرجهن في الفطر والأضحى العواتق والحيض والذوات الخدور فأما الحيض فيعتزلن المصلى ويشهدن الخير ودعوة المسلمين. قلت يا رسول الله إحدانا لا يكون لها جلباب قال لتلبسها أي لتلبسها أختها من جلبابها. Alright? So the Messenger of Allah ﷺ commanded us to bring out on Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha young women, hijab observing adult women, and the menstruating women. Alright? Here it said hijab observing adult women, which means young women here is referring to kids whom wearing hijab is not mandatory upon them. However, it is good to cultivate them upon wearing hijab. And the menstruating women, which means the teens. The menstruating women stayed out of the menstruating women in general who do not have to pray. He said the menstruating women stayed out of actual prayer area but participated in good deeds and supplications, which means, even if you're on your menstrual, that doesn't mean that you cannot do other acts of worship. So if you attend the masjid and you couldn't pray, but the imam is making dua, you can participate in saying Ameen, which means you are also part of the dua of the imam. So you can do some other acts of worship, but you cannot pray. He said, let her, the Atiyah said, I said, oh Messenger of Allah, one does not have an outer garment, meaning the garment that covers her aura. He replied, let her sister cover her with her garment. Collected by Al-Bukhari and Muslim. For among the highly recommended deeds of Eid al-Fitr is to eat few days in odds, meaning you eat 1 or 3 or 5 before leaving your home to the Eid. And the opposite is Eid al-Adha. Why do we eat in Eid al-Fitr before proceeding to the
So it's not like we're fasting.
It's not like we are fasting, right? And also because Allah the Almighty has legislated for us not to eat after Fajr, and we obey Him. And now on the Eid al-Fitr, He has legislated for us to eat after Fajr. So this is telling us that this is teaching us total submission to the command of Allah the Almighty, whether we understand the wisdom behind it or not. Like our scholars mentioned, He the Most High has commanded us to circumambulate the Kaaba. People will say, what do we get from circumambulating the Kaaba? Is there any wisdom? The wisdom behind it is Allah the Almighty has commanded you to do something and you submit and say, Sami'na wa ata'na. This is the reason why when Umar ibn al-Khattab was kissing the black stone, he said, you are nothing but a rock. You neither benefit nor harm. Had it not been because I saw the Prophet kissing you, I would not have kissed you. So kissing any other stone will be considered, if you seek with it, closeness to Allah will be considered bid'ah and innovation. But kissing the black stone is an act of worship. The only reason is because the Prophet did it. So these are things that we have to understand when worshiping Allah the Almighty. You don't always have to know the wisdom behind something in order to do it. Sometimes you may not know the wisdom, but that demonstrates how much you submit to Allah the Almighty and how much you submit to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his command. That is why the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one day they were with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam praying, and the Prophet removed his shoes in the middle of the prayer. So all of them removed their shoes. When the Prophet was done, he said, why did you remove your shoes? They said, because we saw you remove your shoes. And the Prophet said, I did that because Jibril told me that my shoe is carrying najasa, right? But they did that even though they don't know why the Prophet did that. This shows us how they submit to the command of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam without asking, why do we have to do this in situations like that? Wallahu a'lam. Alright, so the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not leave out for the prayer on the day of Eid al-Fitr until he will eat an odd number of days. This is collected by Ahmed in Al-Bukhari. So Ibn Taymiyyah said, one should leave out walking on foot, not on a ride, except if there was an excuse such as disability or the remoteness of the place. Let's say the place, the musalla of the Eid is far away from your house, then you can drive. But the sunnah is to walk to the Eid. The reason being is so that the people would see the number of Muslims going out. This is the wisdom behind the Eid being in public. And this is the reason behind the Prophet commanding even women who are on their menses to come, so that the people who are the non-Muslim will see how great the number of Muslims are. And with that, they will respect and honor the Muslims. But unfortunately, we are not able to establish those great Islamic act of worship in this, chaotic condition. But alhamdulillah, there are some masajids who will be establishing this. We ask Allah the Almighty to help us and to bring us back to the masajid. Ameen. It is also from the sunnah for the men to beautify themselves on that day, because it is the day of Eid. Putting on their best garment. This is based on the narration of Abdullah ibn Umar, who said, أخذ عمر جبة من استبرق أي حرير تباع في السوق فأتى بها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال يا رسول الله ابتع هذه، يعني اشتريها تجمل بها للعيد والوفود. فقال له رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إنما هذه لباس من لا خلاق له. So is that Umar radiallahu anhu bought a garment made of silk from the market and brought it to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, O Messenger of Allah, buy the like of this garment from the market and adorn yourself with it on the day of Eid. And for when the delegates visit, meaning if visitors come to visit the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Umar wanted the Prophet to put on silk, garment and look, nice and beautiful, right? So the Prophet ﷺ said, this dress is only for those who do not have any portion of the hereafter. What does the Prophet mean by this statement?
It's for the people, he's saying the dress is for those people who, they love the dunya, it's haram.
It's haram, basically. You understand? Basically, it is haram for the Muslims to wear silk. It is for those who do not have any portion of it in the hereafter. Because when you read the Quran mentioned that men in Jannah will be adorned with silken garment. So the prophets, and also they will drink from cup of gold, right? From a golden cup and stuff. So if we use this, that's why drinking from golden cup in this dunya is forbidden. Because if we use it here, we will not have it in the hereafter. And for men, wearing silk is also haram. Because if we wear it here, we will not have our portion in the hereafter. But for women, is it halal or haram? It's halal for women to wear silk because adornment is part of the nature of women. That is why golden ornaments is also halal for women. Now.
So is it upon a Muslim man to check, those things that's labeled within a garment? Because nowadays they will have a garment where the asl is like polyester, but it would say 30% silk, 15% cotton, and like that.
If it is some percentage of silk in it, that will not make it haram. But if it is 100% silken garment, then it makes it haram. But the best is for a person to try to be cautious. Best is to be cautious and stay away from it. But if it is, like I said, like 50% silk with polyester and cotton, it will not harm. No. All right. So the Prophet ﷺ said this to Omar only because it is forbidden, like he said. It is forbidden on men to adorn themselves with silk and gold. As for the women, they must leave their home for the prayer with an adornment that is not eye-catching, without putting on perfume and without unveiling her body, because she is commanded to veil herself and is prohibited from displaying, she's prohibited from displaying her charms and from putting on perfume when going out. The Muslims must perform the Eid prayer with tranquility and with full attention. They should remember Allah often, invoking Him, hoping for His mercy and fearing His punishment. One should also remember the greatest sitting in front of Allah on the Day of Judgment. It should also come to his mind while he is gathered with the people in the prayer area also considered their difference in virtue amongst themselves in this sitting, and even the great difference there will be in virtue in the hereafter. Wallahu a'lam. A Muslim should be happy with Allah's bounty upon him for allowing him to reach the month of Ramadan and for granting him success to keep up with the prayer, fasting, recitation of the Quran, charity, and other than that from among the righteous deeds. For indeed it is better for him than the world and whatsoever is in it. So again, if you find yourself to be able to do good, do not give credit to yourself. Rather give credit to who? Allah the Almighty. That's why even in the hadith of Abu Dhar, the long hadith, when the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah the Almighty will say, Ya ibadi, لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم قاموا على صعيد واحد فسألوني فأعطيت كل واحد مسألته لا ينقص ذلك من عندي شيء إلا كما ينقص المخيط إذا أدخل البحر. Meaning, all my servants were the first of you and the last of you. The jinn of you and the man of you were to stand on the same platform, right? And were each and every one of you to ask me, meaning make a request from Allah the Almighty. Allah the Almighty said He will give each and every one of us what he or she has requested, and that from his kingdom of anything. Then the Prophet gave example. It is like a needle that is dipped in an ocean and then taken out again. Then the Prophet said, Allah the Almighty said afterwards, Ya ibadi innama hiya a'malukum. O my servants, this is your deeds. Ahsaytuha, meaning I preserve it for you. Thumma uwaffiha iyyakum, and I will reward each and every one of you according to what they have done. فَمَنْ وَجَدَ خَيْرًا فَلْيَحْمَدِ اللَّهِ. Whoever finds good, then he should give thanks and praises to who? To Allah. وَمَنْ وَجَدَ غَيْرَ ذَلِكَ فَلَا يَلُومَنَّ إِلَّا نَفْسَهُ. And whoever sees otherwise, then he should not blame anyone other than himself. Right? So if you find yourself doing good, be grateful to Allah the Almighty. Here the Messiah also said, يَمُنُّونَ عَلَيْكَ أَنْ أَسْلَمُوا بَلِ اللَّهُ يَمُنُّ عَلَيْكُمْ أَنْ هَدَاكُمْ لِلْإِيمَانِ. And likewise the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allahumma lawla anta mahtadayna. Said, oh Allah, had it not been because of you, we would not have been guided. وَلَا صَلَّيْنَا وَلَا تَصَدَّقْنَا. And we would not have prayed or given charity. فَأَنزِلَ سَكِينَةً عَلَيْنَا. Therefore, O Allah, send down tranquility upon us. وَثَبِّتِ الْأَقْدَامَ إِنْ لَقَيْنَا. And keep our feet firm when we meet the enemy. So again, credit at the end should be given to Allah the Almighty for guiding us to this straight path. Here the Messiah said, "Kul bi fadlillahi wa bi rahmatihi fa bidhalika falyafrahu huwa khayrun mimma yajma'un." Say to them, through the grace of Allah and through His mercy therein, therefore let them rejoice. That is better than what they heard. Indeed, standing in prayer during the nights of Ramadan with faith and sincerity is among the ways in which sins are forgiven, and it is a means of gaining salvation from the hellfire. Therefore, the true believer is happy for completing his fast and his night prayer in order for him to be purified from his sin. As for the one who is weak in his faith, he is happy for the completion of Ramadan in order to be done with the fast, which was a burden upon him and a cause for uneasiness and discomfort in his heart. The difference between these two groups is huge. May the Almighty make us amongst the former, not the latter, right? To make us amongst those who feel sad that Ramadan is about to depart because we will miss the standing in the night of Ramadan in prayers. We will miss fasting the month of Ramadan. We will miss all these good things that we used to do during the month of Ramadan. But we should not be amongst those who feel as though this is a burden on them and they are happy that Ramadan is over and that they are releasing that burden of them. No, we should be happy that we are able to complete the month of of Ramadan. That is the happiness that we have to express. Our noble scholar Ibn Uthaymeen said, "Oh my brothers, know that although the month of Ramadan is over, the believer's deeds must never end as long as he is alive. Because he, the Most High, said, وَعْبُدَ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينُ, worship your Lord until yaqeen, which is certainty, arrives. And yaqeen here is referred to death. Yaqeen here is referred to death, the certainty here. So worship your Lord until death arrives. So when Ramadan is over, that doesn't mean that ibadah is over. As long as you live, you have to worship Allah. Because the goal behind our creation is to serve Allah. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I did not create mankind and jinkind but to serve me, meaning to worship me. He, the Most High, also states, saying, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. O you who believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in the state of Islam. Our noble scholar Ibn Uthaymeen also mentioned the statement of the Prophet ﷺ that says, إِذَا مَاتَ الْعَبْدُ إِنْقَطَعَ عَمَلُهُ. When the slave dies, his deeds will be cut off. Which means, as long as you are alive, your deed is being documented and recorded for you. So the Prophet ﷺ has not placed an end to deeds except with the arrival of death. Even though fasting the month of Ramadan is over, the believer would not stop fasting due to that. This is because fasting remains legislated throughout the year, and all praise is due to Allah for that. It is narrated by Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, who said that the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man sama Ramadana, thumma atba'ahu sittan min Shawwal, فَكَأَنَّمَا صَامَ الدَّهْرَ." Whoever fasted the month of Ramadan and then follows it with 6 days of fasting in Shawwal, then it is as if he fasted the entire year. You know, sometimes when a person is doing an act of worship by himself, he feels lazy to do that, right? That is why there is barakah in jama'ah. In jama'ah, in group, there is barakah. The Prophet ﷺ even mentioned that. You know, so the best food is the food in which there is lots of hands in it, because you eat collectively. And likewise, when you worship Allah the Almighty collectively, there is motivation in it, and there is support in it. So even with the Sitta Shawwal, to make it easy on you, you can even, get together with your friends, organize. All right, let's fast this day and break our fast together. So there is nothing wrong to do it together, even the husband and the wife and the children, or you and your friends, or even in the masajid, they can agree. Few brothers, agree we're going to fast from this day to this day, and then break our fast together. This will help us to be able to complete the 6 days of Ramadan, making it easy for us to get the reward of fasting the entire year. So we ask Allah Almighty to grant us understanding of the deen. Ameen. The Prophet ﷺ was also asked about fasting the day of Ashura, and he replied, it expiates the sins of the previous year. So there are few fasting beside the month of Ramadan, other supererogatory acts of worship, which is fasting that if you do, you get reward. From one them is fasting the day of Arafah. The Prophet said fasting the day of Arafah expiates the sin of the previous year. And fasting Ashura also expiates the sin of the previous year. So all these are virtuous, virtuous good deeds that the religion legislated for us, and we have to take advantage of it and get the reward from Allah the Almighty. From one the supererogatory fast is fasting Mondays and Thursdays. Aisha radiallahu anha said, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يتحرى صوم الاثنين والخميس. The Prophet used to seek out fasting on Mondays and Thursdays. And when he was asked, he said, تعرض الأعمال يوم الاثنين والخميس فأحب أن يعرض عملي وأنا صائم. So deeds are presented to Allah every Monday and Thursday, and I want my deeds to be presented to Allah the Almighty while I am in a state of fasting. So again, these are other days that we can fast beside the day of Ramadan. And also, establishing the night prayer. Even though Ramadan is over, but establishing the night prayer is not over yet. You know, though the night prayer during the month of Ramadan is over, the night prayer remains legislated throughout the nights of the year, and all praises are due to Allah. This is a prophetic tradition that has been established both from the statements and actions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari on the authority of Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah, who said, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ليقوم أو يصلي حتى ترم قدماه فيقال له فيقول أفلا أكون عبدا شكورا. So the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم would stand at night in prayer until his feet would swell up, and it would be said to him, ease on your soul. And he would reply, will I not be a grateful servant? Meaning, shall I not be a grateful servant? Our noble scholar, Imam Sheikh Raslan, he said, this indicates that the best way of expressing gratefulness to Allah the Almighty is to pray. Because the Prophet used prayer to be the best means of expressing his gratefulness. Because when he was asked, why do you do this to yourself when your sins have been forgiven? His answer is, أَفَلَا أَكُونَ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا. Shall I not be a grateful servant? Which means praying again, which is the night prayer, is one of the best ways of expressing gratefulness to Allah the Almighty. Wallahu a'lam. It is also narrated by Abdullah ibn Salam that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Ayyuhan nas, O people, afshu salam, spread the greetings of salam, wa at'imu ta'am, and feed food to your loved ones, to the poor and needy, wasil al-arham, and keep your family ties, wasallu bil-layli wan-nasu niyamun, and pray in the night while people are sleeping, tadkhulu jannata rabbikum bisalam, you will enter the Jannah of your Lord with peace. And the Prophet ﷺ also said, Afdalus Salat Ba'd al-Faridah Qiyam al-Layl. The best prayer after the obligatory prayer is the night prayer. So the best prayer after the obligatory prayers is the night prayer. The night prayer includes all the supererogatory prayers that are prayed at night, along with the witr prayer. One should pray 2 units at a time. And if you fear the entering of the dawn prayer, then you should pray 1 unit, making odd the total of number of units prayed that night. And if one wills, he can pray according to what was previously explained in the 4th sitting, which means, the sitting of the month of Ramadan. So again, like we said, any 2 rak'at that somebody prayed after Isha prayer is considered night prayer. So if you know that you will not be able to stand in the night, at the least pray maybe 4 rak'ats after Isha before going to bed. If you are too tired, then make sure that you set your alarm maybe 30 minutes before the rising of Fajr, and wake up and pray, even if it is 4 rak'at and then 1 witr, or even 2 rak'at with 1 witr. You will be considered praying night prayer, and you will not be deprived from this virtue. So again, this religion is so easy. We just have to dedicate to Allah the Almighty and do the right thing, even though it's going to be a small act of worship, but the reward will be greater. And the Prophet said, the best act of worship is the one in which consistency is adapted in it, even if the act of worship is little, meaning is small. So if a person can put for himself, even after praying Isha and just Sunnah of Isha, you can set your alarm 30 minutes before Fajr every day and rise up and pray. Even if it is 3 rak'ahs before the rising of the dawn, then you pray the Sunnah al-Fajr. If this is something that you can establish upon a consistent level, this will be one of the most beloved acts of worship to Allah the Almighty, as long as you remain consistency upon it. This is better than the one who will stand and pray about 12 rak'ahs, and then he gets tired and he will not be able to come back to do it again. So may Allah the Almighty grant us understanding of the deen. Ameen. Our noble scholar Ibn Uthaymeen said that he said, "Oh my brothers, strive earnestly in doing good deeds and stay away from sins and shortcomings in order that you will be away from sins and shortcomings, in order that you will be successful with a pleasant life in this world and with a great reward in the hereafter." Allah the Almighty mentioned saying, "Man amila salihan min dhakarin al-untha falanuhiyannahu hayatan tayyiba." So whosoever acts righteously, whether male or female, and is a believer, we will surely grant him a pure life, and we will surely bestow on such their reward according to the best of their works. Then Ibn Uthaymeen concluded with prayers. He asked Allah the Almighty to keep us firm upon faith, the righteous deeds, and to grant us protection from the punishment of the hellfire. We ask Allah the Almighty to grant us protection from the punishment of the hellfire. Ameen. Of course, this year, like I said, many masajid and many communities are not able to establish the Eid prayer. However, our scholars have recommended that families should, gather their family at home and pray 2 rak'ahs after the rising of dawn, meaning 15 minutes after the rising of the 15 minutes after the rising of the sun. And that is the waqt of shuruq. You can do that from that time, between that time and dhuhr, as long as dhuhr time did not hit. You can pray 2 rak'ahs, say the takbirats of the Eid, which means in the first rak'ah, you say 7 takbirat, including the takbiratul ihram. So Allahu Akbar, you say the takbiratul ihram, then you recite the dua al-istiftah, and then Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar 6 times. And then you recite Fatiha, and then you recite surah. You recite it out loud. And then you make ruku, to the end, and then you rise up for the second rak'ah. You say Allahu Akbar after rising up, then you make another 5 takbirat, and then complete your prayer and salam out, and do your takbirat. But there is no khutbah included. This is what our scholars, the Lajna Da'ima al-Iftar, this is what they have recommended. Even though Eid prayer cannot be substituted, just as Jum'ah prayer cannot be substituted, meaning you cannot pray Jum'ah at your home because you missed it in the masjid. You pray Dhuhr. So Eid prayer can also not be substituted. However, we can pray the Sunnah of Duha with our family together, and then pray it, make dua and ask Allah the Almighty to accept it from us. So we ask Allah the Almighty, dress up, remember to keep the family ties. If you can visit. If you cannot visit, reach out to your families by, phone call, text messages, and, congratulate them with the Eid, because this is our day of celebration, and we have to express that happiness according to what we can do, or to the best of our ability. Wallahu a'lam. And we ask Allah the Almighty to grant us understanding of this deen. Amen. Somebody is asking if two people are praying, are they both supposed to recite Surah Al-Fatiha? If the prayer is a silent prayer, then both of them have to recite Al-Fatiha. But if the prayer is a loud prayer, then the recitation of the Imam substitute for the recitation of the one who follows the Imam. I hope this is clear. So if somebody is leading the prayer and he's reciting out loud, yours is to listen to his recitation, and his recitation will, substitute for your recitation. But if he's reciting secretly, then you have to recite secretly because you cannot hear his recitation, and that is, Wallahu A'lam, the most correct opinion. It's differences of opinion on this, and I'm not going to dive into that, but to make it simple and keep it short, is that if you can hear the recitation of the Imam, then his recitation is substitute for your recitation, and yours is to listen to him. And if you cannot hear the recitation of the Imam, then you have to recite your Fatiha within your soul. Wallahu A'lam. Now, you have any, sorry. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, today will be the ending of our session until after the Eid al-Mubarak. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.